All right. It's a great day and greetings to everybody from wherever it is you're joining us from. My name is Joshua Awesome. I am very delighted and grateful to be able to welcome everybody to this month's edition of the Mind Your Mind MasterClass. So, as it's our custom, I would typically begin the session by telling us what kick-started and pretty much birth what this is all about. I have basically supported our beautiful continent the last 23 years as a coaching psychologist. I am grateful for the privilege to be able to use this opportunity to monthly assist us as Africans to do what we call here at the African Institute of the Mind called Mind Your Mind Masterclass. And so one of the things that inspired this was because as a coaching psychologist, I realized that as Africans, many Africans and people or professionals could not really afford to engage the services of a coaching psychologist or a counselor to support them from a mental health perspective. And I decided to start what is now called African Institute of the Mind. And we have run African Institute of the Mind the last 2 to 3 years. And every last Sunday of the month, we basically host this Mind Your Mind Masterclass. We have been grateful to have hosted colleagues out of the United States. And we have also been privileged to also host people from our beautiful continent here in Africa. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to host this March edition of the Mind Your Mind Masterclass. Before I introduce our guest and keynote speaker for this month's edition, I would like to just pretty much tell a short story. And this short story is basically to help you understand how my journey got me to where I am today. And I think it's always very important to, talk a little bit about that, because this month's edition is focusing on personal leadership. And if you received the communication via WhatsApp, via email, via LinkedIn, via Twitter, via Instagram or Facebook, you would have noticed some specific words that I used, that we are interested in helping each person mind their minds. And personally, it's one thing that I do and I continue to do to support our beautiful African continent. And so I'd like to start by saying that my journey started for me at the age of 15. I mean, at the age of 15, I had clarity in my head about who I wanted to become. And that journey helped me to journey from age 15 into having clarity in my heart about the career path that I was going to take on. And then eventually it took me on an interesting journey that helped me to be able to, begin to use my hands. And I remember back then, I was asked, actually, what have I done that gives me the moral rights to claim to be a coach, to claim to be able to help people to ascend and accentuate into various areas of life. And that's what then inspired and ignited my interest to mountain climbing. And I remember back then when I physically climbed Kilimanjaro, and I pretty much am excited that I'm the first Nigerian of Nigerian descent to actually climb Kilimanjaro with the Nigerian national flag. Now, why did I tell that story? And I told that story primarily because I believe that it's important for us to first have clarity. And in having clarity, then we're able to then walk ourselves from that clarity into a career path that will then help us to use our hands to then connect from the head to our hands, but making sure that the bridge is our heart. And I say that with every sense of purpose, because I believe that every one of us on our journey, regardless of the type of information that we have access to, information without inspiration in some way will restrict us igniting ourselves towards that path that will then help us to be able to implement it. And what is the bridge that helps and makes that possible? It is a coach, which is why I'm always excited to be able to every month host this, but not be the only person to share, but invite someone who is also working their own journey, but is also a coach in their own regard. And I'm very excited this March edition of the Mind Your Mind Masterclass to invite a coach who is a leadership coach, who will be a keynote speaker, and then share around personal leadership. Hopefully it will help to bring some form of clarity to those of us who still possibly are trying to clarify, where we want to pass and take our journey. But aside that, to also be able to clarify on our career path, and hopefully, maybe climb your own Kilimanjaro. Might not be physical, but in some way climb your own mountain, so that you can then receive the guidance, the support that will help you to be able to accentuate and be very intentional and consciously continue on your own path. So I welcome everybody. Again, my name is Joshua Awesome. I am delighted, humbled, and honored to welcome everybody to this Mind Your Mind Masterclass, hosted by the African Institute of the Mind. And without further ado, I would like to welcome our guest and keynote speaker in person of Kemi Ogunkoya, the author of a very interesting bestseller, which I am excited about. Please make welcome Kemi Ogunkoya, and I'll make you the co-host in case you want to share some slides, Mark. You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Joshua. It's such a great honor and privilege to be here. Thank you for all that you do. It's really amazing, really, all that you do, and I sincerely just celebrate you, and just keep cheering you on to more. Thank you for also having me as the speaker for this month's edition, and talking about a subject that I am always excited to talk about, which is leadership. So I look forward to a great and interesting time. Thank you.
So what I think I would like for us to actually start with is, make it as interactive as possible. Since this edition will be focusing on personal leadership. So maybe I would ask you a question. I mean, you heard me talk about my personal journey. I would like to find out from you, when did you have the clarity of sorts that you would say pretty much helped you to realize that, you know, you were going to begin to do what you now do as a leadership coach? And so that would be my very first question to you, Kemi.
All right, thank you for that great and amazing question. And I can assure you, it wasn't at 15, you know. So we celebrate the outliers, and that's really amazing. And you know, anytime I get to talk about the journey of clarity, I always like to put people at rest. You know, because the journey is absolutely different for everyone. Some of us get to know exactly what we want to do from a very early age. I talk about my experience, and you know, I remember as a young child, my mom will call myself and my brother. We have 11 months in between us. We're Irish twins. So she'll call us and say, okay, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was always sure what he wanted to be. I think it was about 7 years old then. I was 6. And he would say, I want to be a doctor. And, you know, he is a medical doctor today, in as much as he's into public health now, but he always knew he wanted to be a doctor. You know, he loved to read from that very young age. He used to read really big books and encyclopedias. And, you know, I think that shaped his mind from that very young age. I, on the other hand, you know, I walk through the valley of the... You know, she got tired of asking at some point because some days she's asking and I want to be a baker, I want to be a nurse. And she's like, you know what, let's just leave this. You know, eventually she'll probably figure it out. Yeah, so I think my journey has not been that of knowing exactly what I wanted to be from the get-go. I think it's a journey that has evolved, but a journey that has helped me look back to be able to pick out the cues from every interaction that I have had. So I did start at 15, like I said, you know, and I pretty much say that the journey into full consciousness, you know, came way into my 20s, right? In fact, the later part of my 20s, in as much as I started interacting with different expressions of my life, you know, at that point, I was married, and then I started having kids. I was an entrepreneur. I left the 9 to 5. I was into entrepreneurship, but I won't say that, you know, I was really there. You know, I think I was at that point where I was trying to interact with quite a couple of things, trying to find my expression, trying to find my voice. But then when I kept interacting, clarity started coming. The more I engaged with this future, the more I engaged with this different expression of me, of you know, putting myself in the heat of some of the things that I loved. And you know, I realized at that point that one of the things I loved more than any other thing was being able to inspire people, being able to help people achieve, you know, great level of fulfillment in their life. I realized that in as much as I didn't know that I was already interacting or living out the expression of these, I had always engaged with this part of me. So as a young child, you know, people will come to me for advice. When I'm talking about really old people who come to me for advice, people would talk to me about marriage. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing at that point. I wasn't even married. So it wasn't because I even had the experience, but somehow people just felt that level of comfort and felt, oh, you know what, when we talk to this person, at least we're able to get some level of clarity, even though I didn't know I had that level of clarity at that time, trust me. So it was an evolving journey. And interacting in the business space, you know, I got into entrepreneurship, and then I realized, okay, you know, we're doing a lot of organizational designs, you know, consulting for organizations. And at that point, I realized, you know what? we're doing a lot of great stuff for these organizations, but somehow, a lot of them are not able to really step into full implementation because of the quality of the leadership within a lot of these organizations, where you have a lot of egos being thrown around, you have deficits of leadership. So in as much as you come in with really great concepts and ideas, and principles, and then you come in with solid interventions, a lot of times, it's probably just been thrown in the back burner. So I realized that, at the core of, business growth was leadership. And then taking it to the home front, I realized just how some of the interactions I've had centered around deficient leadership, in people's personal lives, looking at my experience as a human resource professional, working in the banking industry, working in the oil and gas. I just saw how large the deficit of leadership was, and then what it will cost us if we're not doing anything about it. And it was going through that journey for me that brought that level of clarity to say, if we can fix it from that place of leadership, if we can fix it from that place of self, because people cannot become better at what they do unless they become better at who they are. So if we can fix it from who they are, helping them step into that higher place of self, helping them step into that higher place of responsibility and duty, helping them understand what really lies on their shoulders and how they can, become our own Superman, how they can become their own Superman, then we will get a better world. And that was the journey for me. So I always say that, it's important that people understand that clarity would happen at different points. For some, you step into clarity really early. For some, it would be about you being aware of your journey, being able to pick the cues, as you go on. But then when I got into that space of leadership, it hit me so badly. I knew this was one thing I wanted to do and affect more than any other thing that I've ever explored before. And staying in that space, I'm able to interact, I'm able to help people achieve results. And it just gives me great level of satisfaction. It gives me great level of comfort, being able to understand the purpose, of me being here, especially because the purpose of our purpose is not for our purpose. So it's important that, we understand that and we're able to step into that. So I think that's my own journey.
Interesting perspective, right? You touched on, purpose, and you touched on clarity. I'm curious to ask if someone were to get a copy of your book right now, The Leadership Guardian, what would you say are the 3 key focus or lessons that people will take away from the book for those who have not read it?
Okay, all right. So the first thing will be to help people demystify the concept of leadership, right? And by that, what do I mean? So a lot of times when we talk about leadership, people are quick to separate the expression of leadership, to look at leadership as, I'm a business leader, I'm looking at leadership from the lens of business, or I'm a spiritual leader, I'm looking at leadership from the lens of spirituality. For some, it's about, I'm not even qualified to be a leader. I was probably the last child in my family. Leadership is positional, or leadership is for a set of people, looking at probably the great man theory of leadership, and you're like, it's about certain traits, it's about, the men and all of that. So I say that leadership is not about a position, it's not about a condition, it's not about a situation. Rather, it's a choice that you get to make. I also say that leadership is shapeless in nature. So which means that it takes the shape, and it takes, it takes the shape of whatever container that you put it in. So I have, I have this glass of lemon water. So it's about you emptying the content of this cup into a bottle, and then it takes the shape of that bottle. Also understanding the responsibility of leadership, that leadership, it's not a flipping switch. So which means that you don't come on one morning and say, you know, I'm going to be a leader for 2 hours, and then, you know, the next 10 hours, I'm going to go at war. So pretty much through my book, The Leadership Guardian, you know, people will be able to demystify the concept of leadership and really understand what leadership is all about. So I say demystifying the sacredness of leadership. And when we're able to do that, you know, it helps more people step into that place of duty. It helps them step into that place of sense. It helps them step into that place of responsibility. And then they see exactly what they need to be doing in the bigger context. The other thing that my book would do is to help people step into that place of, you know, harmony around leadership. Okay, so which means that there's a level of consistency across the expression of leadership in your life. So like I said earlier, for some, when they talk about the subject of leadership, it's about looking at leadership from the lens point of business. But then through my book, you know, I'm able to really explain and consolidate the concept of leadership as being a lifestyle, you know, so being a lifestyle. So when there's a great level of disparity, for example, between who you are as a leader at home, who you are as a leader at work, you know, then there's a problem somewhere. So in as much as the expressions may be different, but then there shouldn't be a great level of disparity, especially if your leadership style, your leadership principles is embedded in leadership values. So through the Leadership Guardian, you will understand exactly how to do that. The third thing that the Leadership Guardian, amongst, you know, numerous other things that the book would do, is to help you develop that blueprint to become a great leader. You know, so it goes way beyond talking about, oh yeah, you know, leadership is this and that, to helping people really understand what practical steps do you have to take moving forward. So I call it a blueprint for leadership that goes way beyond talking about leadership to helping people understand exactly how to step into leadership and how to absorb the leadership lifestyle.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. You know, it's quite interesting that you began to talk about demystifying. And the one thing that is coming to my mind right now is the fact that, you know, a lot of us have all types of, you know, pictures in our head on how things ought to go, or possibly we're trying to pattern our own journeys based on things that we've seen in other people or in other places. I see someone writing a question which I would like to open up if she would like to ask you this question herself. So there are actually two questions that are coming up. So someone says, how do you navigate being 5 years into your professional career, but still unsure as to what exactly you want to pursue?
Okay, so do you want me to take that now?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So how do you navigate being 5 years into your professional career, but still unsure of what exactly you want to pursue? So, you know, I don't know, Priscilla, thanks for that question. I don't know if you were in when, you know, we started, or when I started talking. I spoke about my own journey to today, where it was about really being able to engage and interact with some of the different expressions of my life, and that led me to today. So I have worked in the banking industry, and you know, I did a few years in banking, and I thought, you know what, do I see myself enjoying and living this life in the next 5-10 years? You know, would I be excited? Will I be fulfilled living this life in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? And you know, the honest answer was no. You know, I didn't see myself being fulfilled, being able to live to the highest level of expression of my life, being in that role, you know, in the next 5-10 years of my life. So that led me to, okay, so what other part of my life do I want to explore? And, that took me on a different journey into human resources, right? And, I did enjoy it for a while, but then I just felt that there was something inside of me that was yearning for even greater expression. And, it was about being able to impact, being able to inspire people, being able to, be flexible, in my mind, being able to explore my creativity. And those are some of the things that led me to the search of, what, there's so much more. There's so much more. What is this thing? What do I love to do? What do I love to engage in? So when we look at it from, oh, it's 5 years, it's 10 years. We need to start looking at our lives from that place of, it being, half full rather than half empty, where we're able to appreciate that, what, probably this thing I've been doing for the last 2 years is not really what gives me fulfillment. So it will come down to you being able to ask yourself really critical questions and saying, investing in your own journey of self-awareness, because the truth is that even if you have to speak to people to say, oh, I don't like this, and say, oh, maybe you try this, it won't really be you because it's not coming from the core of who you are. So you want to ask yourself, if you feel that you are not in that place where you're living your best creative life, you want to ask yourself, okay, so in the next 10 years, do I still see myself doing this? Do I still find, or will I still find that level of fulfillment doing this in the next 10 years, right? If your answer is no, then definitely that would lead you on a journey of discovery. You want to ask yourself, so what are some of the things that I can do? What are some of my talents? What are some of my skills that when I explore, I can do it for a lifetime? So I can train, I can talk about leadership, I can do coaching for a lifetime because it gives me a great level of fulfillment. But when I asked myself this question, when I was in the banking space, the answer was no. And just looking back, I just cannot imagine how frustrating it would have been if I remained in that place because I was afraid to want to explore. So you have to be unafraid to want to explore, and then you have to start asking yourself questions around what are your strengths, what are your growth areas, what are your interests, what are you passionate about, what is the pain that you seek to address in the world. And then when you're able to become fearless, or you're able to disrupt your mind around this, then you're able to, take that step forward to really wanting to interact with all of this. So if, I'll go back to what I said, that if you can ask yourself that question, do you see yourself in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, living or doing exactly what you're doing and being fulfilled in it? If that question, if the answer is no, then you want to get on that journey of discovery, right?
Right. Well, thank you so much, Kemi, on that one. For the sake of those who possibly don't know how to find what they are passionate about, how would you say, or what would you say they need to do to be able to, find that passion or that, path that when they look back, they will be proud of it a decade afterwards? How would you respond to that?
Okay, so the first thing is to be aware, right? Because like I said, talking about my journey, that there were cues along the line that even I wasn't picking up at that time. So people would tell me, oh, you know what, you're very good at counseling people. You're very good at, when people talk to you, they feel at peace. Right. And those were cues really around some of my strengths. Those were cues around some of the things that I didn't even know that I was great at. So it comes down to you being able to pick the cues. And sometimes because we get so familiar with ourselves, we may not be able to see some of these. So it's important that you're also able to talk to people, people who you know have your best interest at heart, people who you know can be objective and can be truthful, and you ask questions. What are some of the things that you think I am great at? You know, if you could mention 3 skills or 3 things that you would say I'm great at, what would those 3 things be? Also, you want to ask yourself, what are the things that you can do so effortlessly that whether you're being paid or not, you would find great level of satisfaction doing? Okay, and those are some of the cues that you would find. Some other tools that can help will be probably personality tests. You know, do a personality test. You can get free personality tests done online. Just go on Google, find a personality test, and start engaging with yourself. You know, so there's one model that I train with. It's called the Johari window. And the Johari window is a great tool for self-discovery and effective communication. But then when you deploy it as a tool for self-discovery or self-awareness, it's into 4 quadrants. So you have, it's like a window that is divided into 4. You have the open areas, you have the blind spots, you have the hidden areas, and then you have the unknown areas. And then the blind spots are part of your life or areas of your life that is unknown to you, but then known to other people. And the only way you're going to be able to find out about that is when you're able to solicit feedback from people. So just like I said, you want to ask people to know, so what are some of the areas that you think I'm great at? What are some of the things that people come to you for, right? You just need to be able to pay attention sometimes. What do people come to you for? So people used to come to me for advice. People used to come to me for counseling. I'm doing great doing that now, even though I didn't know them because I wasn't paying as much attention, or I wasn't at that point of, great level of awareness at that point. And then you have the hidden area. The hidden areas on the Johari window are areas of your life that, is known to you, but then not known to other people. And then you have the unknown, the unknown quadrant is the area that isn't known to you and isn't known to other people, but then will only become known through, self-discovery. So which means that you have to have that mindset of constantly reinventing yourself, constantly rediscovering yourself every day. The journey of self-discovery is a continuum, which means that it will never end. And you should not get to that point where you exhaust its full spectrum. So keep asking yourself, you do something that surprises you, like, wow, I didn't know I could do that, right? So I have a daughter, she's 10 years old, and, she's multi-talented. She sings, she's able to write songs, she can play the violin, she's great with craft, and, she can draw, and, I just see that she's discovering new parts of herself every day. And how does she discover this part of herself? She discovers by engaging. So you're not going to find out about yourself by just, closing your eyes and wishing that the answers will come. If you want to learn how to drive, for example, you have to get behind the wheels, right? You have to get behind the wheels to learn how to drive. So the same way for your passion, you will know by engaging, you will know by asking questions, you will know by being more present, and paying more attention to yourself.
So much on that one. There's another question here before we begin to approach the end. Someone had asked earlier, indicating how would, one be able to change the mindset of self-doubt when it comes to leadership?
Okay, so that's another great question. So thanks for asking that. So self-doubt is, something that at one point or another we would encounter, probably because of a lack of confidence, skill gap, or quite a couple of things, our beliefs around certain issues, the role of nature and nurture, environmental factors, and quite a couple of things that can help us project self-doubt. But then when it comes to the subject of leadership, it's important that as a leader, you first demystify the concept of leadership. And what are some of those things to demystify? You need to understand that everyone can lead. Everyone can be a great leader. And when we talk about leadership, it's not necessarily about you being a leader in a multinational organization, right? You first have to start by leading yourself, so you should not doubt your capacity to lead yourself. Rather, you should develop competence, to be able to lead yourself effectively, and then you're able to lead other people. You also need to understand the fact that the best of leaders in the world don't have two heads, right? I've never seen any leader with two heads, looking at amazing leaders like Nelson Mandela, because those are some of the names that pop up when we talk about who are your favorite leaders. So we have about Nelson Mandela, we have about Barack Obama, we have about Desmond Tutu, and quite a couple of great leaders around the world. I've never seen any of them having two heads. Now have I seen any of them with 6 eyes? So which means that, what it takes to be a leader, it's way beyond our physical attributes. It's way beyond our ethnicity. It's way beyond our gender. It's way beyond our educational status. It's way beyond how much you have in your bank account. Rather, it is a choice that you get to make to say, you know what, I am qualified to lead by the, just by the virtue of birth. Right? God has made us qualified to lead. So it's important that we do not disqualify ourselves from leadership by second guessing ourselves. What do you need to be a great leader? In the past, it used to be about, people were born to lead. We talk about people being born to lead. Are leaders born, or are they made? But the truth is that even if you're born with the skills, of leadership, or you have certain personality traits that position you to be a great leader. If you are not constantly engaging, with certain traits, if you're not constantly engaging with certain, competence, for example, then it doesn't matter what skills you have. You won't be able to effectively lead. So if you were born, for example, with the talent of being able to sing, and then because you used to have a great voice, you start taking very cold water, cold juices, you're not conscious about, you're not conscious about what you eat and how you eat. And then it's just a matter of time that someone else who wasn't even born with some of those skills will practice up to the level that you probably will cease to exist in that sphere. So when it comes to leadership, you need to first start by understanding that you are qualified to lead. Leadership in itself is a shapeless phenomenon. Leadership is progressive in nature, so which means that you have to constantly keep learning, you have to keep on learning, you have to keep relearning. So I developed a model around leadership. It's called the dozen model. And the dozen model, comprises of 12 key elements to help raise visionary and effective leaders. And the first is clarity. So to help you become a better leader who is not constantly self-doubting, you have to be clear as to who you are. What are your strengths? What are your growth areas? What are your unique gifts? What are your interests, right? And then the second element is character. So as a leader, who do you want to be? How do you want to be known? And character, is something that you can always develop and improve on. If you are able to come to the table and say, I want to be held by certain values. So for example, if we talk about Nelson Mandela, and I say, so tell me 3 things that come to mind when you talk about Nelson Mandela. I hear people say, he's selfless. He's an empathetic leader. He's great. He's a great communicator. And in all of that, I asked, was there ever any time where Nelson Mandela came to you to tell you, oh yeah, you know what? I'm a selfless leader. No, he did not. But we were able to pick those skills through the expression of his life. So as a leader, to eliminate self-doubt, you want to work from that place of clarity on who you are. You want to develop great level of character. You want to develop competence, because when we become more competent as leaders, it helps us eliminate a great level of self-doubt. You want to also be committed as a leader, because it comes through engagement. What you constantly do, you become better at. So you want to work on that area of commitment. You also want to understand the place of consequence. So for example, self-doubt. What will be the consequence of self-doubt on your success as a leader? That should also be able to help you to be able to make certain decisions around the fact that, would I be held by these mental shackles, or do I want to break free from this? You also want to develop great level of communication skills. You want to become more confident. You want to be able to connect with people, because these are some of the things that will help you eliminate self-doubt. Consistency. You want to be able to be a critical thinker. So these are some of the elements of the dozen model. And then you want to have a level of consideration and be able to build communities around your leadership sphere.
For this deep dive into that one. So I'm going to take the last question, and then we will close with what we usually like to close with here, which is a mindful pause. I see a question coming in saying, how have you managed as a woman in the forefront of leadership in a world that still prefers male over female leaders?
All right, great question. Really amazing questions out here today. All right, so how have I managed? So I've managed by not viewing the world in the lens of man and woman, and rather than playing the gender card to say, oh, yeah, I'm a woman and I should have great opportunities. Yeah. I play the value card, which is, what do I bring to the table? I'm very confident about what I bring to the table. I'm very confident about, the change that I can make. And it's way beyond my gender. It's way beyond the fact that my voice is this, or then I look like this. So when I come to the table, I come to play based on value. I know there are a lot of expectations, sometimes really unrealistic expectation on the woman that is being heaped, but then it's about how much of this are we absorbing, right? It would be about how you absorb all of this and then your interpretation of all of this. So I would not be disqualified, because I'm a woman, so I'm not going around the world looking for evidences to make me believe that. So there's something that Dr. Brené Brown says. She says that if you go around the world looking for evidences that you don't belong, you would find a lot of them. So I'm not going around in the world finding evidences that I don't belong, that I'm a woman. No, I'm going to come to the table and then I'm going to play. I'm going to play fair. I'm going to play from the place of value. There are times that I've been asked, oh, you know what? So we thought it was a man who owned your company. We thought this one, that one, that. But I don't care about all of that. You can think whatever you want to think, but you want to achieve results. And then I'm that person for you, and you have to look way beyond that. However, we live in an environment that seems to be highly patriarchal, and then it seems like we're losing focus trying to fight a battle that, doesn't really require that much attention from us, So rather than focusing on personal development, we're trying to say, oh yeah, we haven't been given, no, So we would have these conversations because these conversations have to be had. However, we need to focus on, becoming our best self. We need to focus on the value that we bring, So does the world prefer men? I don't know. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the world that needs, great leaders. I'm going to focus on the world that needs transformation. I want to focus on the world that needs to raise great leaders across the different spheres of life, and that's who I choose to be. So let's focus on the right thing. Let's focus on developing a great level of competence and great level of confidence. Let's focus on being self-aware and being self-assured. I didn't get to this level overnight, right? There are times that I have tried to get certain opportunities and then I've been turned down. But rather than look at it from the sense of, oh, you know what, maybe because I was a woman and all, I really don't care about that. You know, it's more about, okay, so what lessons can I learn? And sometimes when we're not being given that space at the table, you have to come with your own table as a woman, you know, come with your own platform, you know, show what is possible. And with time, you know, we would keep engaging in a world where we see beyond colors, we see beyond gender, you know, we see beyond, you know, societal lines. Rather, we're actually seeing from that standpoint of value. All right, so that's how I've been able to manage, you know. Well, no, I wouldn't even say manage. That's how I thrive, you know, just being myself and being confident in who I am and being unapologetic, you know. So I'm not going to let anyone tell me, oh, you're a woman, so you know, you're being emotional and all that. No, not all those gaslighting. You know, when people gaslight, it's your choice to absolve or to dismiss. So I choose to dismiss and I choose to define myself based on the values that I live by and, you know, just help other women also be able to become more confident in themselves.
Thank you so much for that insightful perspective. I think what I would like to do is to just share a thought or two that specifically highlights ideas to help us self-care, since we're focusing on personal leadership, and then take it forward from there. I think one of the things that I would like for us to, you know, just realize first and foremost, you know, physical. Do something physical every day that helps you to feel that you're caring for yourself. So I'll give you an example. My health insurance company here in South Africa expects us to move our bodies at least, you know, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And so I do 10,000 steps every 48 hours. I've already done it today. I did it 2 days ago. And before then, I did it 4 days ago. What am I trying to say? Movement is medicine, okay? So that's one physical thing that I personally do. In your case, the physical thing that you might want to do could be dancing, it could be hiking, and not everybody, you know, loves hiking. Some of us are lovers of it. Yours could be swimming. It could be to clean out your closet or clean your apartment, reorganize your room if you live in a studio apartment. Take a shower, you know, do something physical that shows that you are caring for your body. One of my professors out in the US used to say to me many years ago, he said, Joshua, your body is where you live on the planet, so you need to look after it. The second bit is mental. And for me, that is very, very important. You know, on a regular basis, we now live from our cell phones. Many people live from their cell phones. So I intentionally keep my cell phone outside my room. It actually stays in the lounge in my house. And the reason is because when the alarm goes off in the morning, I have to move. Okay, so I move out from the room and then I walk out of the room and then go to the lounge where the phone is kept, and then I can turn off the alarm. Now look at it from this perspective. If it is beside your bed, you possibly would not go to sleep on time. One. Secondly, when the alarm goes off, you will just stop it and switch it off, and then you possibly might go back to bed. But if it is in a different room, or if it is in your lounge like I do, you will have to get up and move to go take it and maybe turn it off and then do something else. Now, in my case, that has helped me over time. And it's become a pattern that has helped me to be able to progress and move my body. For you, it might be to read a book or a DIY project. If you love writing, you might want to write. And with smartphones these days, there are all types of courses that you can take. If you love photography, for example, you can learn how to use your smartphone for photography, to be able to capture images in ways that basically will help you in some way or the other. And I think the last bit is in terms of emotion. And for me, emotion also talks to awareness. So I wake up in the morning, and one of the things that I do is that before I do anything, as I switch off my phone, I then go back into the bathroom and then look after myself. I have a bio break, and then, then come back to the kitchen and then switch on, the gas or the stove to be able to heat water. So I'm able to then take, my calming wellness tea or coffee. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because when you think about all of this, it could look like a map. So the emotional side is leading towards awareness. So that's A. I had earlier talked about the mental side, so MA, and then the physical, that becomes the P. Look at it from this angle. That's like a way to map your day, as it were. And I encourage you to do this on a regular basis, and it will help you self-care as much as, some of the points that our guest speaker and keynote speaker has shared. If you look at some of the examples she's given, you can link all of them to bringing you to a place of awareness, helping you mentally, and also helping you to physically advance your life in some way. So as we begin to close, I'd like to first and foremost thank everyone for joining us in this March edition of Mind Your Mind. But we will not close without taking a mindful pause. And I'd like to thank Carl out in San Francisco in the United States. They also support the African Institute of the Mind with a corporate subscription that has helped us the last 2 years. So I'd like to, at this point, basically just, switch on to Mind Your Mind for this edition. And if you may, please, Kemi, if you can return back the hosting rights to me, because I had handed it over to you, so I can then share my screen. Thank you. Right. So I'd like to take us into a mindful pause at this point. And if you may, please, this is not tied to any religion. It is basically scientific, and it's able to help you to bring yourself into a state of awareness. And basically, our focus for today will be on risk.
Welcome to the Daily Calm. I'm Tamara Levitt, and today we'll be talking about taking risks and stepping outside of our comfort zone. To start, find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Allow the heart and chest to lift, but let your shoulders and arms relax. Straighten your spine as best as you can to keep you alert and attentive. And as you settle in, begin to relax. Soften the eyes. Soften the neck. And gently bring your awareness to the breath. Take a few deep inhales and exhales, feeling your lungs expand and contract expand and contract. Now just observe the relaxed, natural breath. And notice where you can touch the breath in your body, where you feel sensation the strongest. Sometimes it's felt as warmth or coolness within the nostrils, or the top lip just below your nostrils. Some people feel it swirling in the belly, or feel a rising and falling sensation in the chest. Become aware of where you most strongly touch the breath and hold your attention there. Giving full care and attention to each new moment. And if you notice that you've lost your focus, gently bring your attention back to that place, the area where you touch the breath. Feel the breath entering your body, and feel the breath leaving your body. Stay connected to the feeling of the whole breath, observing the full movement of each in-breath and each out-breath. Now gently relax your attention, allowing space for everything. Today I thought I'd talk about the benefits of stepping outside our comfort zone and the importance of taking risks. So what does that mean, stepping out of our comfort zone? Well, you may have felt a sense of stepping outside of your comfort zone the first time you sat down, closed your eyes, and meditated. Perhaps it felt strange at first, but you embraced the unknown, took a risk, tried it nonetheless. And if your experience was anything like mine, the risk paid off, and you discovered a practice that would become an enriching lifelong journey. As human beings, if we want to grow, we have to take risks. Chris Rock didn't launch his stand-up comedy career by playing it safe. Now, of course, it's not easy to take risks. We gravitate towards what's familiar because it feels safe. When we try new things, we risk discomfort, humiliation, and failure. But we have to step out of our comfort zone if we want to grow. If we want to learn a new skill, like speaking a new language, we must go through the discomfort of learning and risk looking foolish as we try to order lunch in Italian. If we're single and want to be in a fulfilling relationship, discomfort is inevitable as we navigate the dating world, get to know someone, and build intimacy. Growth necessitates risk. When I think about the big breakthroughs in my own life, I was always willing to face discomfort and take a leap. And over time, as we take more of these risks, being outside our comfort zone starts to feel more comfortable. In a sense, we become comfortable with discomfort, and we acquire a stronger tolerance for what feels scary and unfamiliar. As Anne Lamott said, it's good to do uncomfortable things. It's weight training for life. Now come back to your body. Come back to the room. Feel your feet on the ground. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed today's Daily Calm. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
All right. So thank you, everybody. We have now come to the end of this March edition of Mind Your Mind Masterclass. Before we take our leave and say our goodbyes, I would just like to invite you to just type one word that you are taking away from this session in the chat box. What is your one word? If there's one word, or if there's a couple of words you would like to say, you're taking away from this, what would it be? I'm going into the chat sections now, and I'd like to, just look at the one words that everybody is typing. I mean, for me, somebody just typed improvement. Thank you, Tolu. And by the way, Tolu is joining us from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Tolu. Who's gonna go next? The couple of us in. Priscilla. Thank you, Priscilla. Priscilla is joining us from South Africa. Thank you, Priscilla. Priscilla says her one word is boldness. What would your one word be as we begin to approach the end of this March edition of the Mind Your Mind Masterclass? I'm waiting for your one word. I think my own one word is discomfort. I mean, if one wants to grow, the one thing that one needs to be open to is being, uncomfortable with, whatever it is that is going to lead towards that growth. So I guess the one word is very, very important, and I'd like you to think about it. If you have not, it's important to have something that you're taking away. But to close, I would just like to, okay, great. Our keynote speaker, Kemi, just said how one word is progress. And just for me, as we close, I would like you to, I don't know if you noticed when our keynote speaker, Kemi Ogunkoya, was speaking, most of the time she was putting her hand on her chest. And that is, a very, very good way to strengthen, yourself and to care for yourself some more. So learn to place your hand on your chest. So if you don't mind, I'd ask you to place your hand on your chest as we close with this word. I am ready. My efforts help me to succeed. If you want, you can turn on your microphone and let's do this together. I am ready. My efforts help me to succeed. Yes, let's do it together.
Help me to succeed.
I can make a real difference in the world.
I can make a real difference in the world.
My hard work will pay off.
My hard work will pay off.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I have the power to make the right choices for me.
I have
the power to make the right choices for me.
I have faith in my abilities.
I have
faith in my abilities.
I got this.
I got this.
I am grateful for what I can do.
I am grateful for what I can do.
I am happy to be me.
I'm happy to be me.
I am confident.
I am confident.
I will practice self-kindness.
I will practice self-kindness.
I am on the right path for me.
I am on the right path for me.
I love me.
I love me.
I will take action and accomplish my goals.
I will take action and accomplish my goals.
Success is mine.
Success is mine.
I am always learning.
I am always learning.
Always learning.
I trust myself.
I do trust myself.
I will try new things.
I will try new things.
I will turn negative thoughts into positive ones.
I will turn negative thoughts into positive ones.
I am safe.
I am safe.
My life is beautiful.
My life is beautiful.
I am powerful.
I am powerful.
It's okay for me to have fun.
It's okay for me to have fun.
My possibilities are endless.
My possibilities are endless.
I am well rested and full of energy.
I am well rested and full of energy.
I am at peace.
I am at
peace.
I am strong in my mind.
I am strong in my mind.
I am strong in my body.
I am strong in my body.
I am strong in my spirit.
I am strong in my spirit.
My life is a gift to the world.
My life is a gift to the world.
I deserve love and happiness.
I
I deserve love and happiness.
I care for myself.
I
I
care
care
for
for myself.
myself.
Healthy food fuels my body.
Healthy
Healthy
food fills
food
my
fuels my
body.
body.
Today I am alive and grateful to be alive.
Today
I am alive and grateful to be alive.
I give myself room to grow.
I
give myself room to grow.
Please, even if your camera is not on, look at me. I'm lifting up my hands. Now give yourself a warm hug. You are special. You are unique.
I am unique.
Thank you, everybody. Please, if you can, please celebrate yourself wherever it is you're joining us from. I'd like to thank everybody one more time. My name is Joshua Awesome. It has been humbling having you give me the opportunity to bring myself and our keynote speaker into your private space. Thank you for joining us forever where it is you've joined us from. I wish you the very best and enjoy the remaining month of March as you march forward into April, my birthday month. And please don't forget, April 16 is World Awesome Day. We have a great announcement upcoming. You don't want to miss it. Thank you, Kemi. Thank you, everybody. And take charge. It's me, Joshua Awesome, wishing you the very best from South Africa with love, peace, and abundant blessings. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.